CBSSports.com, top bounce-back candidates in all the NFL. And number one, Odell Beckham Jr., Danielle Hunter, the D lineman, is 2, Julio Jones 3, Christian McCaffrey, who was injured for the Panthers 4, and Nick Bosa 5. But number one, Odell Beckham Jr. And a motivated Odell Beckham Jr. is usually a guy that's great for your team, bad for the opponent.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, we saw in 2019, right, Odell was never healthy. He hurt he had the core muscle injury. He fought through it. He played all 16 games, but it was a struggle, barely got 2,000 yards. Then last year seemed healthy. And I keep flashing back to that Cowboys game where he had the 3 touchdowns and he had that end around where he, went 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then turned it into the ceiling touchdown, and think, okay, when Odell's healthy, the impact he can have. So, I don't know if he's the number one bounce-back candidate, but he certainly deserves to be mentioned in the top 5. I think the fact that his name is Odell Beckham Jr. and people gravitate toward that name makes him a natural to be the number one choice. But just what he can do for this offense, the other pieces around him, I think it certainly sets up for Odell to be a huge factor on this team. Now, I don't know if he's going to have Julio Jones-type numbers if they're both healthy, just because I think there's more weapons around Odell, but I think he can certainly have a huge impact on a Super Bowl contender.
The other thing is I trust Kevin Stefanski to find unique ways to get him involved and to use him at critical times, and that's what you'll want from a dominant wide receiver. Give him the opportunity to make big plays that change games.
Yeah, and I think we saw that. Obviously, Odell got hurt too early last year, but we started to see that. And again, that Cowboys game, handing him the ball, having Jarvis Landry throwing passes, getting him, kind of bubble screens and hitches early in the game so he gets in a flow. And I think that's something that Stefanski realized as those first couple of weeks progressed and said, hey, I really have to get Odell in the flow early because, we flash back, I think it was the opener against Baltimore, where there were a bunch of targets, but he didn't really have a whole lot of success. And there was talk about, okay, you got to get Odell involved. You got to get him involved. And I think Stefanski kind of found a little bit of a rhythm. And if he has Odell for a full 16 or 17 games, I would expect that to just grow exponentially.